So let's talk about the IELTS Speaking Part 3 exam. This is the discussion portion, and a lot of candidates find this a little bit tricky because you don't have enough time to think about what to say before you start speaking. But don't worry, I'm going to be breaking everything down and telling you how to handle it. Hello there, my name is Ogogo Ovalen and I'm an IELTS coach. I've been coaching people for IELTS for the last 5 years, and I've really noticed that people struggle with this part of the exam, but really it is something that anybody can handle as long as you are taught how to handle it right. Before I go into that, let's talk about some common mistakes that people make in this part of the exam. Now, a common problem that many candidates have is anxiety, okay? They're very stressed, they're very anxious, because in this part of the exam, they're no longer asking you personal questions about your life, so you cannot make up answers. They're asking about your opinion. They want to know what you think. They want to hear how you think about things and how you process things and how you can develop your ideas to make sense, okay? So basically, this stresses a lot of candidates out, but really there's nothing to be stressed about. Something I have found to be very helpful is that even though you don't have time to think about your response, you can take a few seconds to collate your thoughts. Okay? So you get a question and then you can take a few seconds. I advise 4 seconds, which is equivalent to a breath in and a breath out. That is already enough time for you to think about your question and try to collate your thoughts and find out what direction you want to go with your answer. Of course, the more you practice, the more you get used to thinking within this very short period of time. It may not be easy at first, but as you practice on your own or with a friend or with a tutor, you'll get used to thinking in a very short time and delivering good answers. Okay, so take those 4 seconds, they are golden. Use that time to at least get an idea of where you want to go with your answer. The next mistake that a lot of people make is including personal stories or examples as they answer their question. Now, when it comes to IELTS Speaking Part 3, there is no need for personal stories here. Why? Because they're not asking you about your life. The questions here are more general. They'll ask for your opinion. They'll ask, what do you think about what's going on here? What do you think about this topic? What do you think about this approach to life? So they want to know your opinion. It's not about your own experience, just your thoughts. Okay, so if you have to give examples here, you want to give either hypothetical examples or general examples. What are general examples? These are examples that everyone around the world or in your country can relate to. So you could give examples with popular celebrities, maybe actors or singers or sportsmen and women. You can give examples with them, or just popular figures like someone that's the president or the governor. Those are good things to give examples with, or popular events like the Olympics, okay, or the World Cup. Those are general examples. Hypothetical examples are a way you can sneak in your personal examples without mentioning yourself. So for example, let's say you wanted to say, when I get back from work, I'm usually very tired and I have no time to exercise. But that makes it personal. So let's make it hypothetical. So you say instead, when a person gets back from a stressful day at work, that person would be very tired and have no energy to exercise. All right, so I'm no longer talking about myself. I'm talking about this hypothetical random person who is tired when they get back from work. So you see what I did there? That is how to turn personal examples hypothetical and still use them where relevant. Okay, another very big mistake that people make here is listing things rather than discussing and explaining them. So this is a no in your speaking part 3. Do not list. Do not list. For whatever reason, do not list. And the questions that cause people to list are what questions? When they ask you, what are the events that people like to celebrate with their families? And then you hear people say things like birthdays, weddings, burials, graduation. What are you doing? What are you doing? You are listing out events? No. So in your speaking part 3, there is no place for listing. And as I said, it's very tempting to do this when you get what questions that start with what, What? So please be careful, be wary of what questions. Make sure that once you hear a what question, your antenna stands up and you're like, oh, this is a question that it's going to tempt me to list, but I'm not going to list. I'm going to explain my points. So for each of those things, birthdays, you have to explain why people like to invite their family members for birthdays. Weddings, why do people like to celebrate weddings with their family? For each of those things that you have to list, you have to explain them out. Okay? Now, another thing that causes people to lose marks in this part of the exam, which is similar to the one I just talked about, is not properly developing your idea. What does it mean to develop an idea? It means to properly explain it out in such a way that you touch on every part of that idea. And the best strategy I have found to achieve this is a method called PES. If you have watched my other videos, I'm sure you have heard this before. It is the present, extend, support method. Again, it is present, extend, support. What does it mean to present? It means to say, this is what I think. You present your idea. To extend is to say why it happens or how it happens or why you have said so. And then to support is to use an example, either general or hypothetical, to make this point come to life. Okay, let me give you a good example. Let's say you want to talk about how people become stronger because of sports. Okay, maybe what are some of the benefits of sports? It makes people stronger. So I present my point. I think sports and exercise make people stronger because they help to build our muscles and they build resilience in us and push us beyond what we thought was formerly possible. A good example of this is Serena Williams, who is now one of the greatest lawn tennis players of all times. Through sports, she has been able to push herself beyond her limits, and now she holds numerous world records. Okay, so you can see I presented my idea. I extended it by saying how this happens, and I have supported it with an example from real life. All right, so that is how you want to explain your ideas. Present, extend, support. Now, sometimes you may have an idea. You present it, you extend it, but you don't have any example to support it with. And that's fine. You can present and extend. Sometimes you present, you have a very good example to support, but you don't really have details and explanations to extend. That's fine. You can present and support. But whenever possible, try to present, extend, and support. This is how to fully explain out an answer. So now that I have said all of that, how do you tackle a speaking part 3 question? Okay, I already talked about the present, extend, support. So this is more like what should be in the middle of your answer. When you get a question, you want to start off with an opening statement. Now, your opening statement in your speaking part 3 should be very brief. In fact, the purpose of your opening statement is to paraphrase the question you have been asked. Okay, that is the only role that your opening statement plays here. So, for example, they ask you, what is the importance of exercise? You don't want to say, the importance of exercise is. So, you say something like, exercise is quite crucial for the development of our bodies because, and then you start speaking. Okay, so that's basically the purpose of your opening statement. So, you have an opening statement, okay, after which you go on to present, extend, and support your point. If you have another point, the second point, you do the same thing, present, extend, support. If you have 3 points, although I don't advise you do this, you should have a maximum of 2 points per question and a minimum of 1 point per question. Anything beyond 2 points starts getting too long. And although you are not timed for your response here, you don't want it to be too long because the whole exam is not a very long exam. The whole speaking exam is between 11 to 15 minutes. Okay, so you don't have that much time. Okay, so you can have 1 point, at most 2 points per question, after which you want to wrap up your answer. Okay, wrapping up your answer is very important because it helps you to speak in a circle. Okay, you start off with a point, you end by wrapping it up back to that point. This way, the examiner knows that you have answered the question because I wrapped it up. Okay, so it's very important. Opening statement, present, extend, and support, and then wrap up your answer. This is a perfect strategy to give a good speaking part 3 answer. Now let's put this into practice with some speaking part 3 questions. Okay, this is the first one. How should tourists behave when they are in a different country? When people go to a place that is different from where they are from, it is very important that they are respectful. They have to be respectful of the culture of those that are there, because a lot of times they don't know what practices are will offend the people who live there. So it's best that they are as respectful as possible. Whatever it is that they're not sure of, they need to ask questions and make sure that they are comporting themselves the way they ought to. A very good example of this was during the Olympics. A lot of people had to go to Paris to watch the games. When they got there, it's best to ask people who they meet there questions about how to conduct themselves, about how to get transportation to the different venues. This way, they would be respecting the culture of the people who live there, and they will be able to just enjoy their experience while they are there because they're not offending anyone. This is something that I believe is very important when someone goes to a different place. What can local people do to help tourists enjoy their visit? One thing I believe that people who live in a place, the indigenous people of a place, can do to help visitors have a better stay is they can make sure that they are friendly and open. If they are, then those who come to their country would find it very easy to ask questions. For example, if they need directions to a place, if they are lost, or maybe if they want to find out good restaurants or find out good relaxation spots, it'll be so easy for them to ask the locals if those locals are friendly and approachable, if they smile when they see them, if they say hello, how are you enjoying your visit? If they try to make small talk with them, then these visitors will be more open and they will have a better experience. This is something I believe that the locals can do. Next question, what can tourists learn from visiting new places? There are a lot of things that people can learn when they travel to a new country, but one major one is a language. Okay, different countries across the world speak different languages. So if you go to a new country, for example, let's say you travel to France, you'd be able to learn French. Okay, and learning a new language is always a good thing because you may never know where you'd need it. You could be in the hospital and there could be a patient who needs to communicate, and you are the only one who can speak that language, and you'll be able to offer some kind of help to that person so they could learn a new language. Another very major thing that could be learned by traveling is a new mindset, a new way of thinking. Now, when you leave where you are and travel to somewhere else, you get to see how people live in a different part of the world. You get to realize that things are not always black and white. People see things in different ways. You can experience other people's point of view. You can experience how people conduct themselves in different areas of the world. You can also experience how they handle things in a different way. Probably let's say in your country, everyone, when people are sick, they go to the hospital. It's a normal thing. Once you're sick, you go to the hospital. But then if you go to some Asian and African cultures or visit some Asian and African countries, you realize that when people are sick, they start off by taking some herbs or taking some drinks. And then when those don't work, then they proceed to maybe visit a local healer. And then when that doesn't work, then they go to the hospital. Okay, you may have never seen something like that before, and then you get to experience this by traveling to a different place. Those are some things I believe people can learn. All right, and that's how you handle the speaking part 3. So as I said, it's not difficult. Okay, as long as you can remember to have an opening statement, which is really a paraphrase of the question, present, extend, and support your idea, and then wrap it up so that the examiner knows that you have answered the question. Talk in a circle. If you are able to practice this way, by the time you go into your exam, it will just flow naturally from you. You will naturally speak in this way, and you will get good scores in your speaking part 3. If you have found this video to be very helpful, make sure you like it, subscribe to this channel because there will be more IELTS videos, and please share this video with a friend that is taking the IELTS exam. This video could be the difference between your friend passing or failing the exam. If you'll be interested in taking an IELTS speaking course, which will help you and teach you how to develop your answers like this, which will teach you also what the examiner wants to hear in your answers, and will give you access to some vocabulary lists that will help you to use specific words that are particular to the different topics that you'll be asked about in your exam, then you'd find links to this in the description box. Lastly, if you would like to find out how to speak fluently and confidently, check out this video here.